It was initially finished in 1897 and erected on the rooftop of the Basilica of Our Lady of Brebières in Albert, France. The Golden Virgin, also known as the Leaning Virgin, is a gilded sculpture that was created by the French artist Albert Roze. Regarded as a representation of the tenacity of the French people during World War I. The monument was knocked down by German bombardment in 1915, and it came dangerously close to falling apart once again as a result of shellfire during the Battle of the Somme in 1916. During the year 1918, the statue was destroyed by British shelling, which led to its subsequent disappearance. There was a widespread superstition that the predicted toppling would have an effect on the result of the war, which led to its demolition taking on a legendary dimension. In 1929, the statue was eventually remade and replaced with a new replacement. During the year 1897, the sculpture was affixed to the top of the Basilica. The Basilica had become a well-known landmark by the year 1910. A significant landmark on the sixth stage of the Circuit de l'Est was the sculpture that was being referred to. A news report referred to the sculpture as the famous Golden Virgin and said that it was used as a compass by two pilots named Alfred Leblanc and Émile Aubrin. In the month of August 1910, one of the pilots, Aubrin, used his Blériot-Twen aircraft to do a series of circuits around the sculpture in order to gain a better look at it. At the beginning of World War I, in 1914, 80% of the German army had already mobilized and was stationed on the Western Front throughout the conflict. Within France, German forces maintained solid defensive positions by the time the year 1914 came to a close. Due to the fact that German soldiers believed that the bell tower of the church was housing a French observation station in 1914, they began shelling the dome of the church starting in October of that same year. The artwork was left leaning at an angle that was more than 90 degrees to the vertical axis when it was bombarded in 1915, during the Battle of the Somme. By the 7th of January in 1915, the dome had been demolished, and by the 21st of January, the base of the statue had been struck, causing the statue to tilt significantly. In spite of the fact that artillery rounds were responsible for the destruction of a significant portion of the town of Albert, the statue of Mary remained linked to the basilica, although at an extremely acute angle. A great number of troops were superstitious, and they examined the sculpture on a regular basis. They wrote about it in their journals, and they often said that it had been pushed down and that it was in danger of falling at any moment. Messages were conveyed between soldiers about the statue, and it was often believed to be a portent. People would say things such, "When the Virgin falls, the war will end." Soldiers further said that whomever was responsible for destroying the monument will be out of the battle. As a result of the statue's significance to both British and German soldiers, the soldiers made the observation that the Virgin Mary was preventing the infant Jesus Christ from falling. On March 27, 1918, the Golden Virgin was in the middle of the combat that was taking on. The Germans were able to target British soldiers and the sculpture during the nighttime hours when the battlefield was illuminated by the moonlight's brilliant light. In 1918, German soldiers invaded the city of Albert, and the British bombed the Basilica in an effort to deny the Germans of the high position. As a result, the monument was knocked down. This item was never found again. As of the 28th of September in 1918, it was stated that the sculpture had collapsed, and the incomplete walls of the basilica were the only ones that remained standing. In addition to the basement, the structure had been completely demolished by German forces. Furthermore, German forces were responsible for setting off clockwork explosives that were scheduled to detonate 3 weeks after they had gone.